Women are furious that men are leaving them alone. So women told men, hey guys, we just want to be left alone. We want to be able to live our lives in peace. And, we're not, sometimes we're not comfortable sharing certain spaces. So men have basically listened and they've mostly walked away. You don't see men in society the way you used to. You don't see men in the gyms. You don't see men in the workplace. You don't see men in stores. You don't see men going out to the bars, to the clubs. You don't even see men out for walks anymore. Men are mostly disappearing and vanishing from society, and they're doing exactly what women told them to do. But now women are extremely upset that men have listened. We actually have a video today from the She's Right channel. I actually went ahead and made some tweaks because I was concerned about, just how the perception would be. But I will link the channel description of video so you can go check them out. Check out the original video. But guys, why are so many women furious that men have now walked away and are listening to women and doing what women have told them to do? Leave them alone. And how is that going to affect the relationships between men and women going forward, as well as society as a whole? Before we get started, don't forget to follow us over on Rumble. Our Rumble is linked in the description of the video. And guys, don't let them tell you that you will own nothing and be happy. Go and check out Angry's Crypto Academy, linked in the description of the video, to learn how to buy, sell, and trade crypto and make massive profit so that you can survive and thrive. That's also linked in the description of the video. And now let's go ahead and jump right into the video, guys.
To anyone who wants to write off or the alt-right or black pillars as you're just incels, you just women, I appreciate the energy, but I don't think you understand the full picture here. You know, incels are not the end, right? There are steps after that. Yes, at some point they may have women, and I'm sure they still do, but it's not about that anymore to them. They are not just jealous that they don't have a relationship. Not really. Not anymore. And this whole black pill, fashy, third way politics is rooted in lots of depression and apathy, coding everything, fairly indiscriminately. And a core thought loop is this. They feel like failures. They feel alone. A lot of them, like the Charlie Kirk suspect, are probably college dropouts, or struggling in high school, or struggling to make friends, or struggling to feel anything or to care because of depression. So their minds try to rationalize this. They seek communities that try to rationalize this, and they're trying to give each other support from the same mindset. And the conclusion they all reach is, it's okay, you're not missing out on anything anyway. They don't want to feel like failures, so they delegitimize external factors. It's no big deal, it's no big loss, it's all fake anyway, it doesn't matter. This helps them cope, because they don't have the social emotional skills to succeed, or to deal with how sad it feels to fail. So over time, they shift failing to get a girlfriend from a personal failing, or a personal ugliness, to women aren't worth it, women are bad. They'll push narratives that all women are dishonest, or cheaters, or in it for money.
So, guys, just to interject a little bit right here, it's very interesting because initially you're thinking, well, they're making some decent points, and then you realize, nope, this is all going back to the very notion that if a man stops chasing, if a man focuses on himself, if a man decides that relationships are not for him, then suddenly that's putting him on a path to something that is not good. It's I think that it's a very unfair and unrealistic thing. Women can basically say that they're not interested in relationships, they're not interested in dating, they don't want to get married, they don't want to have children, they want to prioritize their career, and we as men need to respect that. And I completely agree with them. If a woman does not want to have children, if a woman does not want to get married, if a woman does not want, the traditional lifestyle, she should have the right to pursue the life that she wants. And no one should say try to force her into anything different. The hypocrisy here is that when a man says the same thing, suddenly it's coming from a place of disdain. It's coming from a place of hate. It's coming from a place of failure. In other words, a woman does not need a man to survive, and a man is optional in her life. But if a man says that he's fine without a relationship, he's fine just being on his own. He views the world, he views the system, he realizes that the game is rigged. But instead of lashing out at the world, he instead he either decides not to play along anymore and opts out of society just working enough to survive and thrive and no more, or he changes the way that he plays the game. Women don't like this. They don't like when you walk away. They don't like when you say, you know what, I'm not going to play along with the system. I'm just going to focus on myself. And then they immediately associate that with something bad. They immediately associate that with Violence. She brings up the person that is involved in the Charlie Kirk situation, right? And I'm not going to go deeply into that. But just to be very clear, that individual was a person that was believed to be on the LEFT. All right. Again, I'm not going into anything political. I'm just making a statement. That individual was also in a relationship, evidently, with someone else. So he was not a person that was socially isolated. He was not a person, he had friends, but his ideologies were different. Okay, and I'm not going into any such things of wrong or right, but he does not fall into the narrative that she's describing. The voice that you're also hearing, it's actually a she, but we made sure to remove we took away the image, and we actually made changes to the voice because just you understand how the platform is. But I will link you to the original video so you can go and check out her original video. But and instead we used a cute bunny, look a little angry, but a cute bunny. But yeah, it's like the moment that men walk away, women get upset. The system, you have to understand that the system is designed not for men. The system is designed to extract wealth and resources. And men are waking up and men are saying, you know what, I'm tired. I don't want to end up like my father or my aunts or my father or my uncles or my brothers or my male cousins who lost everything in relationships. I don't want to end up destroying my good name. Women do not believe that men are supposed to be allowed to survive independently. In other words, men are told that you're not entitled to a relationship, you're not even entitled to a conversation. When men understand this and internalize this and walk away, then they're told that you're now a problem because you're still should be chasing. Which is, you see, guys, this is it's just a wiring of how women think and operate. Okay, and again, I'm not making any criticisms, but I'm pointing out that men and women think very differently. Okay, and a lot of that is a result of hypergamy, where women are always trying to trade up. They're looking for the best genetics, they're looking for the best relationship. And that's what, unfortunately, in modern society, where women feel like they have unlimited options, and because of the internet and social media, it makes them think that they have unlimited options. It's very difficult for them to be happy with just one guy. Okay, no matter how wonderful the guy is, no matter how perfect he is, a woman could be in a relationship with a man who is a millionaire. A lot of them are. Yes, they're technically they're millionaires, even if he's not making $1 million a year. They have millions of dollars in assets. He's making very good money. He's a good looking guy. He's young, he's good looking, he's tall, he's a good father, he's always there. And she'll get on TikTok and she'll basically explain that she just doesn't know why she feels like this, but she's miserable in her relationship. And the guy is such a great guy. He is such a good guy, but she just can't do it anymore. She's just so unhappy. And the reason why is because of hypergamy. Hypergamy is constantly telling her that there's something more for her out there. There's a better career. There's a better guy. There's more, because women don't like to be bored. And you have to understand, she can be with a guy who is taking her on vacations, who is, when he's available because he has to work, he's always there. He's doing as much as he can around the house, everything to please her. And the more he does, the more miserable she becomes, because it's never going to be enough. She's designed to always believe and perceive that there is more. So when she's given everything that she wants, and there's literally nothing more that he can give, her perception is that, well, it's not enough, because the only things that will ever make a woman truly happy are more and something else. And of course, the blame always ends up falling on men, because men are designed for accountability, while women on the other hand, are designed for consumption. It's about it's and nurturing and caregiving. It's our brains are wired differently. Men are born to be leaders, and women basically are designed to complement men and support men. Doesn't mean that women themselves cannot be leaders, but it's just the way that we are designed. That's the reason why men go out into the world and have to build something for themselves, while women are mostly protected from the world by the resources of men and through the and through and by the and given the protection of men. It's just how things have always been. But now men are walking away and saying that, you know what, I don't like the way society is, I don't like the way society treats me, I don't have to play this game. Or, you know what, I realize that I'm an average guy and I'm never going to be enough for a woman in a relationship, so I'm just going to leave. And they can find the guy that they want. One of the things that women enjoy doing, and they never admit to it, is that women love rejecting men. Most women will never agree to this. They'll never admit this, but it helps their egos rejecting men, because by having all of these men approaching them and constantly trying to talk to them, and then rejecting these guys, it gives them the perception that they are still desired and that they still have tons of options. But if women are looking around and they don't have enough men to reject anymore, right? Because it's their default to reject a man. But if you're looking around and now suddenly, wait a minute, where have all the men gone? I don't have men to reject anymore. I can't constantly reject these guys. They begin to internalize that their options are decreasing more and more and more. And because their options are decreasing, then logically it would mean that their intimacy marketplace value is also decreasing, which is something many do not want to admit to. You see, a 20-year-old woman, this is something that Kevin Samuels actually did with a woman. He basically asked her, he said, a 20-year-old woman and a 20-year-old man, who has more sexual marketplace value? And the woman goes, the woman. Okay. A 25-year-old woman and a 25-year-old man, who has a greater sexual marketplace value? And the woman goes, the woman. Then he says, a 30-year-old man and a 30-year-old woman, who has a greater sexual marketplace value? And the woman responds, the man. Then he goes, and he says something, I think he goes like a 40-year-old, a man and a 40-year-old woman, who has the greater sexual marketplace value? The man. So, and as the man gets older, right? As the man gets older, his sexual marketplace value grows exponentially, while as a woman gets older, her sexual marketplace value decreases exponentially. A woman in reality only has around 10 years from the time, from the time she's around 20 years old to to just before 30. I would say 18 through 28, because by the time she's 30, it's over. So the average woman has basically from the ages of around 18 to 28 to secure a relationship, find someone, get married, have children, and build a family. She has a very narrow window compared to men, who have to build their utility, create their value, but they have much more time to do this. A man has his entire life to build value so that he's able to create a relationship with a woman. That's the reason why you have 73-year-old men and, 23-year-old women in a happy relationship. Because the only thing that really matters in the end is his ability to provide for her, his ability to provide for her, and that's really it. A man that has status, a man that has influence, a man that has money will always be more preferred than some broke boy, unless he's a broke Chad. Okay. And those are not marriageable men. Chad and Tyrone are not marriageable men. Those are men for this. Those are men for fun, but those are not men that have a. Those are not men that are going to be seen as a woman's future, because they don't bring true value beyond sexual marketplace value, being beyond attraction, beyond fun, right? Physical intimacy. They're not providers and protectors. So that's something that you just have to take into consideration. Guys, in a world pushing you to own nothing and be happy, crypto is your key to survival. Join Angry's Crypto Academy to master buying, selling, and trading crypto. Make huge profits and safeguard your wealth. Plus, discover the one crypto virtually no one is talking about, poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. The link is in the description of the video below. Go check it out now.
resent women. They're disgusted by women. They don't like women. At least their idea of women, which is the only capacity they're exposed to women. And a lot of them are closeted and a lot of them are closeted and even if they don't realize it. I think a lot of them.
That's just terrible. That's just terrible, bro. So here she's talking about the INCELs. She's talking about men who stop going. She's talking about guys who take the black pill. She's talking about men who stop pursuing. And what does she start saying? She starts saying a ton of just downright awful things, downright mean spirited things directed at men for no reason other than you know rationalizing that, well, if he doesn't want to be in a relationship, then the reason why he doesn't want to be in a relationship is because something is wrong with him. It's because he's filled with HATE, or he doesn't actually he's not physically attracted to women. It's a terrible way of viewing things. It's a way of lashing out. It's a way of deflection. It's sign language, shame, insults, guilt, gaslighting because they need to be right. And it's not right. It's absolutely not right at all to do something like that or to label all men. And this is what we end up seeing. It's an unfortunate situation that continues to permeate throughout society. And we're only going to see this increasing more and more because women don't want to admit that they need men. Women don't want to admit that they need men, but the truth is that without men, women cannot really do anything in the world. Women only have, and doesn't mean that women are not capable of doing things, but a woman's survival is completely dependent upon, men being there to provide for them, protect them, and subsidize their living. Without men choosing to consciously do that, and without the state being there to supplement them, without the state stepping up and taking over the full burden of providing and protecting women and their children, then and there's basically nothing left behind. If you look at the economy today, where most men are struggling to survive, most men are basically realizing that the economy is rigged, just like the dating market, and opting out of it. It's you have to understand that women are also struggling, but many of them will never admit to it outright, although you do see a lot of women on social media, on TikTok, basically explaining how much they are struggling financially. But it's like they don't put two and two together that you need the family. The reason why women are struggling right now is because they have not placed the focus on the family. And it's not just women, it's men also. The family has mostly been removed from society. The family unit has been removed from society. The need from the family unit has been removed from society. And we've been basically told that, hey, you don't need the family unit. You're an individual. You need to learn how to survive on your own. If you want a family, go make that for yourself. That's something that occurred as a result of the decisions of the baby boomers. Before the baby boomers, the family unit was everything. You had multiple generations of people living under one roof. A lot of Gen Xers will say, well, I didn't even want to be there. I didn't want to be with the boomers. I didn't want to be with my parents. As soon as I turned 18 or even younger than that, I moved out and I got away from that relationship as quickly as possible. I wanted to be free, but there's a reason why that occurred. I remember, for example, when I was in my 20s or pushing my 20s, I started working very early on. I started working pretty early on. All there were Gen Xers in those days. I started working at like 7 or 8. So you have to understand, like I'm like, oh yeah, I started working when I was like 16, 17, or 14. Yeah, there were Gen Xers that have been working since like they were 2 or 3. Gen X is it's a strange generation, just because of how they grew up, but many of them, we had parents who just were very neglectful, parents who did not like us, parents who wanted us gone. And we basically grew up believing that it was normal to toss your kids out into the world when they turn 18 and tell them to go figure it out for themselves so that we can go and enjoy our lives in an empty nest, which is absolute stupidity. Your kids can go off to college or other things, but it's abnormal for your children to leave your home. In other countries like Italy, it's children stay with their parents, sons stay with their parents until they get married. In American society, it was normal for you to have multiple generations living under one roof. Even if your children went off into the world and did things in the world, the expectation is that they would come home and live with their parents at, at the very end, or or at not even at the very end, but at some point you would always return home, because the foundation and the power of a family, the power of an individual, came from the family. It was because you had to focus on the family. That's where our power comes from. It comes from our collective bond. Because when you break up the family unit, now everyone has to have their own home. Everyone has to have their own resources. Everyone has to pay for babysitters. It's a terrible thing, and unfortunately I see that garbage with a lot of my subscribers who don't want the family unit either. They basically just want to be left the hell alone and do whatever they want to do, but then they cry about how hard everything is. When you have cousins, let me tell you something. When you have a family unit, a strong family unit, you don't need a bunch of friends. I'm telling you all right now. When you have a strong family unit, you don't need a bunch of friends. You have your cousins, you have your brothers, your sisters, your cousins. You have all of these people. You have a barbecue. You have barbecues on the weekends. You have all of this. You have a massive family. You don't need strangers. Okay? It's because of the destruction of the family unit why people are rushing to find strangers to make them happy, because they feel so alone. And that is just downright terrible. It's downright terrible. Okay? It's because of the destruction of the nuclear family why we are struggling so much in our society. But guys, you see it for yourself. Women are furious that men are leaving them alone. They got exactly what they wanted and they do not like it. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.